So our next task is to delete the pills after they go off of the screen. And and so you might be thinking, why should I even do that? Because we want to be as efficient as we can with our programs, right? In this case, it's not a moon mission. Efficiency is not our highest priority because our programs are so simple, right, relatively speaking. But it's a best practice as programmers that we should build efficient code, right? So if we do not delete the pills after they go off the screen, then Pygame will still need to update all of those pills, right? If there's 3,000 of them, there's 3,000 of them. If there's 10,000, there's 10,000. Every 60th of a second, every iteration of the game loop, it will need to run update on every single one of those pills. It would need to blit every single one of those pills, and that's just inefficient, right? You can imagine that we have our screen, right, where we could see our pills falling down, and then extend it further down to the part that you cannot see, right? And so you would be able to see like all of the past pills that have rained down on your screen continuing to be calculated and continuing to be manipulated throughout the entire running of your game. We do not want that, right? We want the pills to go away when they leave our screen, so that our computer will not need to work as hard. Okay. So before we do that, I think I want to talk about this Getrekt method. Right? I'm not sure if we went over it yet, so I just wanted to review it before we do. On our pill class, on our constructor, what I did is I created a surface for the pill. Right? Every surface, when you create it, has an associated rect with it. Okay. When you create the surface, it has a width and a height. Right? And a rect has 4 elements that you must have when you create the rect, right? The rect constructor, it takes an x position, it takes a y position, it takes a width and a height. Okay. So if I run image.getRect, what that's going to do is it's going to create a rect whose x position is defaulted to 0 and whose y position is also defaulted to 0. The width is going to be the width of the image, as it should be, and the height is going to be the height of the image, as it should be. Right? So if we do image.getRect and we save it in a rect, well, we have our width and our height set as we would want it to be, and we now need to set our x and y position to where it is. Right? So a method that you can use here is move, because if you remember, what does move do? It takes the first element and adds it to the first element in the rect, which is the x position, and it takes the second element and it adds it to the rect's second element, which is the y position. So essentially, this move, since the getRect creates a rect with 0, 0 as the x and y position, the move here is essentially setting the x position to this variable here, and it's setting the y position to this variable here, right? Because you are simply adding this value to 0, which is this value, and then you're adding this value to 0, which is this value here, right? So that's what that is all about. And now it is time to... What are we doing again? Okay, we're deleting the pills as they go off the screen. All right. So so that's going to be happening in our update method for our pill class. And so we're going to have an if statement in here, right? If they go off the screen. And so how do we know if they go off the screen? We need to know their position, right? And not just their x position, or I'm sorry, not their x position, but their y position. So we're going to say self.rect, because our rect contains all of our positional information, .y, and if that is greater than win height, I believe, yes, win height, that means that the pill has just gone off of the screen, and if it has, we want to remove the pill from the group. So where is the pill that's running this update method? Well, the pill that's running the update method is in self, right? Because that's what self is. It is it's the object that's running this method update. So if I want to remove self from the group, Okay, so how do you remove an object from a group, right? Well, this would be a perfect time to go to Google, and I'm going to go ahead and type in here Pygame sprite removing from a group. That's going to take me here to the documentation. I can look through this Pygame documentation, right? And I can type in remove from group. And so we have a couple of methods. We have remove and we have kill. Okay. Remove removes the sprite from a certain group, and kill removes the sprite from all groups. All right. So I'm going to use kill. It's just easier for me, because if I use remove, then I believe I would need to pass in the group, right, that we want to remove from, which means I need to pass it in from main. So that's just a big headache, or it's just an extra step. So instead, I could just say self.kill. That's going to remove it from all the groups, of which there's only one, the pill group, and we're good to go. Okay, so that should work nicely. We won't see it happening because it's happening just as they go off of the screen. But maybe we could put in here print remove pill, and we will be able to see that text printed down here as the pills are going off of the screen. Yeah, so now we're removing the pills, okay, from the group. All right, and that's about it. Oh, right, and we want to get rid of that print there.